Happy Thursday and welcome in. I'm Joe Brennan, that's Josh Fugate, and this is Keep It Simple. It's been a crazy week in the sports world, coaching carousel going around in college football, a potential lockout brewing in the MLB, but we're going to start with the NFL, about to kick off Week 13 tonight with Dallas Saints. If you were to look at the NFC and AFC playoff picture, it is up for grabs, anyone's game. Josh, who do you like out of the AFC and NFC as your team to beat?
Well, for starters, out of the AFC, I really like Kansas City. I mean, it's no secret, okay, at the beginning of the season, they were horrible. I mean, they looked bad, and that's no fault but their own. I mean, their defense was just Swiss cheese. There was holes everywhere. Opposing quarterbacks were essentially able to do whatever they wanted, but, the past 4 games, they've really sharpened up, and Pat Mahomes is kind of looking like his old self, not all the way, but you can't really count out Kansas City and Pat Mahomes. And then on the opposite side, the Packers. I mean, fresh off a win against the Los Angeles Rams, their defense is rolling as well, and that's one of the things that's kind of always been Rodgers' kryptonite, is his defense gets beat up, but with Aaron Jones stepping out, A.J. Dillon has filled that role and looked like a starting running back, and Devontae Adams is still doing his thing. So I really like the Packers, but what about you, Joe?
I mean, obviously both of those teams are going to be great down the stretch of the season with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. But if I'm picking 2 teams right now out of the NFC, I like the Los Angeles Rams. This is a team that has sold every first-round pick they can possibly imagine to build and win now this year. They've got stars on both sides of the ball, and I just love Matthew Stafford in that Sean McVay system. I think they're going to be explosive towards the end of the season. And then out of the AFC, I'm picking the New England Patriots, a team that we've said a lot in previous years, but this year, with a rookie quarterback at the helm, with Bill Belichick alongside, they've looked sharp, especially in the last 6 games. They're on a nice win streak. I think those 2 teams are kind of on a crash course collision for each other right now, which I'm excited to see. But obviously there are a lot of teams that are in the mix, like we're saying. So we got a little contender versus pretender. To kick things off, we got the Buffalo Bills. Josh, how do you feel about them?
Last year I fell in love with Josh Allen. I thought he was an absolute stud. He just came out and kind of put Buffalo back on the map, and they rewarded him for it. 6 years, $258 million. That's a lot of money. But, this year, they've kind of taken a step back almost. I mean, Super Bowl contender, can't put up 6 points against the Jags. 2 field goals against the Jags. I mean, that's a team that's fighting for the number 1 overall pick. So I think they're pretenders right now.
Yeah, a little bit inconsistent, but definitely got that power. Next up, we got a team that we didn't think we'd be talking about at the beginning of the season, but the Cincinnati Bengals.
Kind of like Josh Allen. I mean, I love Joe Burrow. I think he has all the fixings to be a franchise quarterback, for a long time in this league, and he's finally learned how to not take a hit. I wish Carson Wentz would do that, but he's finally learned how to not take a hit, and that's going to be huge for them. But I still think they're just 1 year away. I think they're 1 draft class away. I think they need to get some pieces on that offensive line. Their defensive line with Sam Hubbard is phenomenal, and they just extended him this past year. And they're going to be good for the next few years, but I think they're 1 year away from being a contender, so I'd label them as a pretender.
Next up, we got a team with an elite quarterback that's been a little bit of a question mark, the Arizona Cardinals.
As a Kyler Murray fantasy owner, I love the Cardinals, but I will say, without him, they're obviously not the same team. And he started off the year looking like one of the favorites for MVP. And it's kind of been not a drop-off, but they're just not as electric with Colt McCoy in there. So I think once they get healthy, and once they get Kyler back on his feet, kind of moving, I think they'll be a contender. I mean, sitting at 9-2, it's kind of hard to say they're not a Super Bowl contender with a record like that.
They've looked sharp, but especially losing J.J. Watt's going to be tough for them. That's a tough one with an edge rusher like that, a Hall of Famer. That's a tough loss.
That is a huge loss, and I think that's going to affect them a lot. But, you know, they have so much firepower on the offensive end. I mean, their third wide receiver, fourth wide receiver, Rondell Moore, first-round pick. I mean, that's a lot of weapons on offense. So, you know, I think they're going to be fine come playoff time, and they'll be able to make a run.
And of course, it's that time of the year again. So before we wrap things up, Josh and I thought we'd give a couple things on our Christmas list for this year. Josh, what you got in this number one?
After Dan Campbell was, you know, caught crying after a tough Lions loss, I think it should be on America's Christmas list to get the Lions a win this year. Just one. Don't let them go 0-16-1 this year. Just give them one, please.
I understand that. For me, at number one, I have a Buccaneers-Patriots Super Bowl. I understand I didn't put the Bucs as my top dog in the NFC, but seeing Brady versus Belichick in the Super Bowl, I mean, that's got to be one for the ages. Everyone's going to want that.
Oh, yeah. And then this is kind of a twist away, a pivot from football. I want a healthy LeBron. The NBA is just not the same when LeBron James is on the bench and on the sideline. And, you know, it's just sad without LeBron. And I know one day we're going to be an NBA-less LeBron, but I'm not ready for it yet, Joe.
And you know what's crazy? In LeBron's first 15 seasons, he missed 71 games. In the last 4 seasons, LeBron has missed 71 games. So definitely on a little bit of a decline. Maybe Father Time's caught up to him.
Time.
We'll see. And the last thing I got on my Christmas list is I would like a loyal college football coach. Right now, you got Brian Kelly, you got all these guys that are saying, I'm not going anywhere, and they're jumping ship. But we'll see. It's been fantastic having y'all here. We've been having a blast keeping it simple. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you.